जय गोपी जदा यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदा यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदा यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिजुकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस अभयचनारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिजुकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की, गंगा माँ यमुना माया की, भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की, मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्ण, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्ण, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्ण, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु एंड श्री गौरांगा, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्रील प्रभुपाद, जय श्रील प्रभुपाद। हरे कृष्ण। We are here to discuss Canto 1, Chapter 17, verse 31. rājovāca न ते guḍākeśa-yaśo-dharāṇāṁ baddhāñjaler vai bhayam asti kiñcit न vartitavyam bhavatā kathañcana kṣetre madīye tvam adharma-bandhuḥ rājovāca न ते guḍākeśa-yaśo-dharāṇāṁ baddhāñjaler vai bhayam asti kiñcit न vartitavyam bhavatā kathañcana kṣetre madīye tvam adharma-bandhuḥ। guḍākeśa-yaśo-dharāṇāṁ baddha-añjaleḥ vai bhayam asti kiñcit kṣetre madīye tvam adharma-bandhuḥ। vartitavyam bhavatā kathañcana। माता जी। Word to word translation. Rājovāca, the king said, na, not, te, your, guḍākeśa, Arjuna, yaśaḥ-dharāṇāṁ, of us who inherited the fame, baddha-añjaleḥ, one with folded hands. Why? Certainly. Bhayam, fear. Asti, there is. Kiñcit, even a slight. Na, neither. Vartitavyam, can be allowed to live. Bhavatā, by you. Kathañcana, by all means. Kṣetre, in the land. Madīye, in my kingdom. Tvam, you. Adharma-bandhuḥ, the friend of irreligion. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhayacharānanda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The king thus said, we have inherited the fame of Arjuna. Therefore, since you have surrendered yourself with folded hands, you need not fear for your life. But you cannot remain in my kingdom, for you are the friend of irreligion. Purport. The personality of Kali, who is a friend of all kinds of irreligiosities, may be excused if he surrenders. But in all circumstances, he cannot be allowed to live as a citizen in any part of a welfare state. The Pandavas were entrusted representatives of the personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna, who practically brought into being the battle of Kurukshetra, but not for any personal interest. He wanted an ideal king like Maharaja Yudhishthira and his descendants like Maharaj Parikshit to rule the world. And therefore, a responsible king like Maharaj Parikshit could not allow the friend of irreligiosity to flourish in his kingdom at the cost of the good fame of the Pandavas. That is the way of wiping out corruption in the state and not otherwise. The friend of irreligiosity should be banished from the state, and that will save the state from corruption. Om Tat Sat. Om Ajnānatimirandasya Jnānāñjana-śalākaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim mitkrupatama mande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramanandamādhavam Shri Chaitanyameshwaram Katāñcana sprate rasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet visprate viparitam syat Shri Chaitanyamāvadam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtavatara Shrimate Jantak. Before I start, I would like to take the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas here and also those who are watching online, so that I may able to do this service with the right mood and can speak a few words for my own purification. So I'll read the translation again. The king thus said, we have inherited the fame of Arjuna. Therefore, since you have surrendered yourself with folded hands, you need not fear for your life, but you cannot remain in my kingdom, for you are the friend of irreligion. So here we know that this chapter is entitled Punishment and Reward of Kali. And Parikshit Maharaj, who is surveying his entire kingdom, he came across the bull and the cow, and the Dharma and the Mother Earth in the form of a bull and a cow. And he saw that they were very much tormented by this Kali Purusha, who was dressed up like a Shudra, dressed up like a king, but a Shudra actually. So he inquired the bull and the cow to find out what is the reason. And then after Parikshit Maharaj very strongly chastised Kali, Kali became very frightened, and he understood that this king is not going to let me go, and he's not going to just spare me like that. So he surrendered. So when he surrendered, Parikshit Maharaj is saying this verse. He's saying that because you have surrendered, I can allow you to be, but you cannot flourish in my kingdom. Because see, in our life also, when we see, we are actually in the line of Parikshit Maharaj in that sense. Because Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, and Arjuna's son is Parikshit Maharaj, and we are propagating Bhagavad Gita as a community. So it is our responsibility that Krishna has handed over, like how Krishna handed over the kingdom of, the entire kingdom was handed over to the Pandavas after defeating the Kauravas in whatever way possible. What was the reason? Krishna wanted to ensure that unscrupulous kings are not there on the throne, and people who are kings who are worthy are actually handling the kingdom, and so that Krishna consciousness is propagated properly. The purpose of living in a human life, the king has to actually ensure that his praja is including both human beings and other living entities. His praja actually benefits by his rule. So if the king is doing activities which is not benefiting benefiting the prajas, then he is not a worthy king. So Yudhishthira was handed over the kingdom to ensure that everybody is peaceful and happy. In the same line, Parikshit Maharaj was given. So if coming down the line, this entire responsibility of being very right and leading by an example is there on our weak shoulders. Because we are, Prabhupada is a representative of the Lord, and then he has handed over that responsibility of preaching to all of us. So there are 3 levels at which we also have to reciprocate in the same mood as what Prabhupada is saying. The Prabhupada says in the first line of the purport that personality of Kali, being a friend of irreligiosity, may be excused if he surrenders, but he cannot flourish in a good welfare state. Our community is a welfare state, our family is a welfare state, our country is a welfare state. So as representatives of Prabhupada, as followers of Prabhupada, as followers of Rupa Goswami, as followers of Parikshit Maharaj and Arjuna, we cannot afford to allow Kali to flourish in the places where we are at least trying to have our circle of influence. We might have a circle of concern at the total national level. We might just say, oh, we are voting, so the leaders should be good and the leaders have to take care of the country. It's okay. That is at a very lofty level. But at a personal level, what can we do? There are 3 levels at which we have to represent and follow the footsteps of Parikshit Maharaj and go with the mood of Prabhupada. What is the 3 levels? The first level is our own self, our own life, where we cannot allow Kali Purusha to actually influence our actions or flourish in our existence. We have to accept that this is Kali Yuga and we can't do much. When Shringi cursed Parikshit Maharaj, he could have actually counter-cursed. That is what Prabhupada also says in those purports, that he could have counter-cursed. But why did he not counter-curse? Because he knew that Kali Yuga has started and it is the time of Kali. As young Brahmana boy cursing a great king like Parikshit Maharaj itself is a sign that Kali Yuga has started. And then he did not want to sort of meddle with the time flow, the flow of activities which is happening in Kali Yuga. So he did not counter-curse. So, but he said that when he is dealing with Kali Purusha, he is saying that, okay, I know that you are supposed to exist here because this is your Yuga. I understand, Satya Yuga is finished, Treta Yuga is finished, Dwapara is almost finished, and so Kali Yuga you are supposed to come, but you can't flourish in my kingdom. So if you see the opportunities which as human beings and individuals have, irreligious people cannot actually succeed in spirituality. They cannot become progressive in spirituality or any kinds of, the only method which irreligious people have, the people en masse, is that they have to slowly progress. First, they have to come from vikarma to karma, following Vedic scriptures. Then within the karmas, you have to have nishkama karma. Then there is jnana. Then there is dhyana. Then there is bhakti. Slow progress over many millions of births. So, if you see the example of Mrigari, when Mrigari was actually one of the lectures I heard, they were saying that Mrigari was initially in a level of a psychopath actually. He was actually killing the animals half and he was enjoying the sight. So when Narada Muni saw that Mrigari was doing this, he was very compassionate. And so he wanted to at least stop the accumulation of more and more karma for Mrigari. So what he advised, he did not go to Mrigari and say, come on, have you heard of Parakyaras? Have you heard of Achintya Beda Beda Tattva? No, he did not do any of that high level preaching to him. He said one step ahead. You are actually killing the animals half. My dear friend, don't accumulate so much of karma. You just kill the animals full. What an advice. Our Narada Muni is saying, please kill the animal full. Because that was the advice needed for Mrigari. Because he could not have understood the final purport to the entire human life. Because he said that, Narada Muni, I did not know that this was sinful also. Because my father taught me, this is my living. Yeah? So how can I say that this is sinful? So only after Mrigari submitted and surrendered and asked Narada Muni that how can I get out all these sins from my life? How can I clear it from my life? That is when Narada Muni advised that you have to do bhakti, that you have to chant the holy name of the Lord. So one has to surrender, one has to go step by step. That is, without the mercy of a Vaishnava, one has to go step by step. But what we have on our hand is our dear Sachidulal, what he has given, our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is the method which he has given, is very merciful at the very high level. Even those people who are irreligious, we are qualified to actually take up this process of chanting. Even irreligious people. It's not like you have to stop doing activities. No, even irreligious people can take up this activity. But the only thing which is required is what? Surrender. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks that you have to surrender. What do you mean by surrender? If you chant the holy names of the Lord in the mood of surrender, then actually you can cross this entire cycle of birth and death, and you can go back to what? Not even go back to Godhead, not even removing your karmas, removing your sinful activities. No, direct Krishna Prem. At the least amount of work, we are getting the highest amount of benefit. This is Kali Yuga. People actually, most of the acharyas, actually, many of them said that Kali Yuga is a bad time because people are all sinful. But this Kali Yuga, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared, is so conducive for us. Failed candidates from many yugas. We failed in Satya Yuga, got demoted to Treta. We failed there. We came to Dwapara. We failed there. We have come to Kali Yuga, but now we have got the question paper out. We know what the question is. Now, when I was preparing, I suddenly recollected one of the instances which happened in my younger days when I was doing my engineering. I like to share that. It's not directly from Bhagavatam, but it is connected to it. Engineering, if you don't pass the Viva, that is question answer session, in the first year, you cannot cross the third year. So when I joined engineering, there were a few people who actually ragged me and everything. They were in third year. So then when I went to second year, they were still in third year because they did not pass one subject from the first year. When I went to third year, they were still in third year because they did not pass the subject from the first year. The teachers were also very frustrated with these people. These people coming again and again. What is this? I can't even see these people's face. So they were frustrated. How do we even pass these people? They gave them easy questions, they did not answer, they failed again. So there was Viva Voci. Viva Voci is that a teacher asks a question and you have to answer. And if you answer, you get either pass or fail. But they can't just do without asking a question. So there was one lecture, there was a professor, Padmanabh. He called this boy and he said, I will give you the most easiest question. I said, what, sir? Do you know my name? He said, yes. What is my name? Professor Padmanabh, okay, you pass, go. Just by chanting a professor's name, that fellow passed a Viva OC. What about we chanting the holy names of the Lord? So this is so useful and so easy to do. We have this opportunity. We have this opportunity of just chanting and going back. Right? It is so easy. But what are we doing? We are getting caught with our own mental things. Kali has entered into our life. How? Cheap internet package. And we keep our Kali right in our pocket and walk around. And we want to say, Kali, you can't flourish. And we are the ones who are downloading the best of the apps. So at one time we are saying that our stated goal is to have Krishna Prem. At the end of the chanting of the offenses, we say, oh, what do we want? Those who are all Vaishnavas have to avoid all these offenses in order to achieve quickly the desired success, which is Krishna Prem. But what are we doing? We are purposefully going back and indulging in Maya, which is Kali personified. I mean, it's like activities on the internet. In the name of what? That too, Kali is very, very smart. He has influenced our mind saying that, hey, you are actually using the internet for preaching. Please do. It's not wrong. But when you are using the internet for preaching, there are other things which are popping up. And then the mind says, let me just click 1.5 minutes only, no. Let me click that video. After that I will preach. So this same tool which we are using for preaching is actually becoming something which is stopping us. This is Kali progressing in our own life. So what we have to do in our own personal life is that we have to ensure that internet and social media is for preaching, and for our own self it should be complete surrendered sadhana. What is surrender? We know the 6 steps of surrender, which is Shadvida Sharanagati. Anukulasya sankalpam, pratikulasya varjanam, rakshisyati ti vishvasaha, gotruptve varnam tata, atmanikshepa karpanya, Shadvida Sharanagati. What is it? Accepting whatever is favorable for me for my devotional service. Why? Because devotional service is the only life. Rest is all is avidya. So accepting whatever is there for my devotional service, accepting whatever needs to be done, we do it. Anukulasya sankalpam. It has, if I have to do Bhakti Shastri, I will do Bhakti Shastri. If I have to chant properly, I'll chant properly. If I have to wake up early in the morning and chant in the Brahma Muhurta, I'll do that. I will do Sadhu Sangha, I'll go to Mathura Vas. I will do all those things which has been recommended by the Acharyas. This is Anukulasya Sankalpam. Pratikulasya Varjanam. Whatever has not been recommended, whatever is actually anti-devotional service, anti our attraction to Krishna, we have to give it up. Whether we like it or we don't like it. That is surrender. We either don't like it. Sometimes if you say, oh, don't go into the internet so much. Oh, how can you even survive? Not possible. So our mind will tell us that it is not possible to live without internet. Few years ago we all lived. When I used to go for trekking and other things, I used to call back only when I reached back the railway station. 8 days, 10 days, my mother did not know whether her only son is alive or not. But now because there is mobile phone, if we don't go sit inside the train and call that I've sat inside the train, there is tension. If we don't go and reach the place and say I've reached the place, there is tension. So this is all unwanted elements of life which you have induced as new normal in our life. New normal. It's like mobile phone, new normal. Use of internet, new normal. Every new normal, we are actually getting our sadhana to the next lower level. We know this, like a frog, which is there in the water. If you take a frog, put it in water and put fire under it, the frog has got this capacity to change the temperature of its skin to suit the surroundings. So when the temperature is just above water temperature, the frog will think, okay, just the temperature has gone up, let me change the temperature of my skin. It will change. It will not jump out of the water. Then again, if the water is getting hotter and hotter, then again the frog will change the temperature of its skin and adjust. Like all of us, we'll adjust to the new situation. So the frog keeps on adjusting the skin of the temperature of the skin till the time it is already too late. At already that time the frog is cooking. So at that point the frog has actually lost the energy to jump out of the water. What we should have done, we should have jumped at the moment that we heard the matchstick. No, we should have jumped. But we are saying, no, this is new normal. No, technology is improving and I'm going with the technology. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us chant and come back to me. Have Krishna Prem. Simple method, nothing more. Surrender and chant. So we are not doing that pratikulasya varjanam. Rakshisyati iti vishwasaha. That surrender element of, third element of surrender is that we have to have complete faith in whomever we are believing. In this case, we are believing Krishna, apparently. He is standing there and he is always saying, Ma shuchaha, and we are completely always doubting him. Is it possible, Krishna? You can really save us? Really? I thought my bank balance saves me. I thought my insurance will save me. I thought my community will save me. My family will save me. We constantly doubt this merciful Lord who keeps on coming back for us. And he keeps on sending his acharyas for us. If we are impersonal, we say that Prabhupada actually went to the West and started ISKCON. This is a very impersonal way of understanding Prabhupada. But Krishna sent Prabhupada. Prabhupada, at the age of 69, boarded a Jaladuta, which is actually a cargo ship. En route, he had 2 heart attacks and he went there. He did not know where to go. Even under a lot of antagonist situations, he went and alone established ISKCON for me. To take this soul back. If you have that understanding, then it is very personal. Rakshisyati iti vishwasaha. Who have confidence that Krishna is definitely going to save me by any which ways. Goptrutve varanam tata. Goptrutve varanam means we have to go and confidentially confide and express our desire to get protected. This is surrender. No, I'm chanting. No, he will know that I'm chanting. You have to go and surrender to Krishna and say that I want to get protected. This is Goptrutve varanam. Atmanikshepa. Atmanikshepa is, after that you don't do anything else. You have completely, you just stay away. After surrendering, after having the confidence, after doing anukulasya sankalpam, pratikulasya varjanam, you just stay. It's like if you find a doctor, you know that you have something wrong in your body. You found a doctor, you found that that doctor is good also. After the good doctor has been found, you go and ask him what to do, what not to do. He says that do this, don't do this, eat this medicine, don't do that, don't eat this. You're doing all those things. And you also, go tripte varanam, you have gone and told him, please help me, please protect my body. All those things you're told. But other thing is atmanikshepa. After that you should not Google. After that you say and go and the second sitting itself you tell and go and tell the doctor, do you think this is what you should do? Atmanikshepa. Have complete faith in Krishna that he is going to do it. Karpanya. Humility. Humility is the last step of surrender. Actually, Bhakti Vinod Thakur starts with dainya. Dainya is humility. In his Sharanagati, he starts with dainya. Dainya means humility. And another way Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur splits this entire verse is that akarpanya. It is not to be humble with any other person. In the sense, if you surrender to Krishna, don't go and surrender to somebody else also. So this surrender, this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked for. If we surrender in this way and chant the holy names of the Lord, avoiding all the 10 offenses, what is it, that stage called? It's called Adho Shraddha. That is the first stage of bhakti. This happened to Prabhupada also, when he was telling about how you should strictly follow 4 regulative principles and chant 16 rounds. Then at that time the devotees asked, would we do, what are we called at that time if we do all those things very strictly? They were thinking that Prabhupada will say, you are Uttamadhikari, you are a Madhyamadhikari. Prabhupada said, if you chant 16 rounds very sincerely and if you follow 4 regulative principles, you are called a human being. Less than that is animal, according to Prabhupada. And we are on this path. Who? Prabhupada told, just chant one round. We all start like that, no? Whenever we go to any place, when we started, somebody would have told us, chant one round, Prabhu. It's very easy. 7 minutes only. So it starts from there. But then we have to graduate ourselves up to this level of surrender. This is at our individual level that we have to surrender fully. Fully means 100%. Mathematics. Once upon a time, when Prabhupada was giving a lecture, he was pounding this point, saying that you have to surrender fully, 100% surrender. Atma-nikshepa-karpana. He was telling everything. Ahai-tuki apratihata. Then it was a very confusing look on the face of his disciples, because they knew what level they were in, and they knew what was the tall ask which they were in front of. So Prabhupada became very merciful, and then he said that, okay, even if you surrender 90%, you can go back home, back to Godhead. This is a story which my Guru Maharaj, Solnath Jayapatak Swami Maharaj, tells in one of his recollections to memories of Prabhupada. And then he was coming down from the dais, and he saw that they were still confused and still not very happy. They said, even 80% if you surrender, you can go back to Godhead. And then he was walking down, and his chadar was flowing, and he, in a signature style, he put on his chadar back with his face up. He said, even 70% if you surrender, you can go back home, back to Godhead. That became a standard in our circles. When I start speaking to young people, they said, "Bro, this 100% surrender is not important." No, Prabhupada said 70%. True, Prabhupada is capable of having such a deal with Krishna. Even if you surrender 70%, he has got a 30% discount for you, no problem. But what does it mean for you? Are you going to follow 7 offenses against holy name, and 3 of them you are not going to break? You are going to follow 3.5 of the 5 things which are told to be do in bhakti, 5 main things, panchanga bhakti? Or you are going to follow 4 instead of 4 you are going to follow 3 regulative principles? What does 70% surrender mean? It means that Prabhupada is more merciful, that's it. There is no action for us to take. We have to surrender 100%. We have to surrender 100%. So, surrendering and chanting has the desired effect. Without surrendering, if we chant, it is going to have a long journey that we have to take. So at the individual level, we have to understand that we have to surrender and chant, and that is what is the beautiful shortcut that we have. All of us, mostly Indians and also generally human beings, we are always in search of some shortcut or the other. What is the shortcut? How can I pass this faster? How can I go through with this easier? So that shortcut we have all been looking for all our life. Mahaprabhu has hidden it in our chanting bag. It's nowhere else. Look no further. It is right there. If we use that opportunity to chant properly and focus on our chanting the way we are supposed to focus, individually we can take the Kali out of our life. We know that Kali is there hovering around in our own phone as a part of our life. He's supposed to be there. It's okay. But we are not supposed to let him flourish. As followers of Arjuna or Parikshit Maharaj in this case, we are supposed to understand that we are the followers and the family of Arjuna, and we are supposed to give him shelter. Okay, Kali is there. We can't do much, but we can't allow him to flourish. This is our side of the bargain. We can't allow him to flourish. Similarly, at a community level, we should ensure that our current existing community and the future community, which is our future ISKCON leaders, which is our children, they also understand the relevance and the importance and the beauty of the opportunity which we have. How do they learn? They learn by looking. Whether it is our juniors or which is our people who are preaching to, or people who are learning from us, or family members, or children for that matter, they learn by looking, not at the stated intent. If we say that chanting is important, you have to prioritize chanting, and then we have prioritized something else, they absolutely see. It's not that they are blind. So this opportunity which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given as a responsible follower of Arjuna and Parikshit Maharaj, we have to ensure that the Kali is out of our life and also the out of our life of our community members. Is at a community level. We have to ensure that those people whom we are dealing with are actually having a good example to follow. We might say, oh no, we are chanting our extra rounds. That is, extra rounds does not mean that you have to chant it without focus. You know that extra rounds, but somebody else who's seeing us are thinking that we are chanting like that, our regular rounds in a way which is not supposed to chant. We have this Kantimala, we are examples of other people who are seeing us, who are coming to the temple and also outsiders. Community as well as our own family members. Like how they say, when they see the collar of the dog, they know whose dog it is. So we wear this, we are bound with Prabhupada as we are Prabhupada's dog. They know whom to complain. Oh, your ISKCON people are doing like this. Both accolades and also complaints, we know whom they are targeting at. So we have to be very, very careful as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as an opportunity given to safeguard the entire community by keeping Kali away. One of the ways of keeping Kali away is chanting properly and surrendering. The surrender should be complete. So at the community level, we have to ensure that we are setting examples for our own people very clearly. So like how we see that most of the people who chant their Gayatri, you see how they chant? We chant with much more focus, and everybody knows that one's not supposed to disturb a person when he's chanting Gayatri. Nobody comes and disturbs, they used to disturb. But when somebody is chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it is almost unwritten rule that they can come and disturb. We also do that. If somebody is chanting, we don't respect it as much as we do a person who is chanting Gayatri. So, hey, he's chanting. No, he's chanting only, no. Go and ask the question. So, all of us as a community need to bring up that seriousness. That ISKCON members means that they chant so seriously you can't disturb them while they're chanting. This is our responsibility for the future, for our own self, our own community. At a country level also. At a country level, we know that as our own influencers of our small community, we have to become much more responsible to, democracy is the only thing possible in India as of now, but if at all there is a Vaishnava way possible to manage the country, we should promote that. But that is like thousands and thousands of years in the future, if it is possible at all. Democracy is not suited for all countries. We know how we are going through. We just have to say that democracy is happening and so we have to elect a leader. Yeah, that is all fine. But that is our responsibility now, to elect a leader properly. So we have to be very, very clear that our leaders are, if a Vaishnava becomes a leader, that is the best. Think about it. If the army, navy chiefs, air force chiefs are elected democratically, do you think you'll be safe in such a country where the army chief is elected democratically? If a person who is elected to safeguard the physical interest of the country, if he is not supposed to be elected democratically but only by qualification, what about the leader who is supposed to be taking care of us, our spiritual progress? The leaders are supposed to take care of the spiritual progress of all the praja, like how Yudhishthira Maharaj used to take care. He used to just do devotional service like yata taror mula nishechanena triptyanti yat skanda bhujopashaka. By watering the root, the leaves are by themselves naturally taken care of. So he used to do administration in such a level that the praja were taken care of in this life and also in the next. This is proper administration as per Prabhupada. So we have to, in our own capacity, we have to ensure that our life is taken care by not allowing Kali to flourish. We have to ensure that the community is safe by not allowing Kali to flourish. And we have to ensure that the country could be safe in the future by not allowing Kali to flourish. Think about this. Dharma was standing on 4 legs. What were the 4 legs? Mercy, austerity, cleanliness, truthfulness. Okay. So what breaks mercy? Meat eating breaks mercy. Okay. What breaks austerity? Intoxication breaks austerity. And what breaks cleanliness? Illicit sex breaks cleanliness. So the only leg in which dharma is standing in Kali Yuga is truthfulness. So what breaks truthfulness? Gambling breaks truthfulness. Prabhupada has been very careful in guarding us from this gross issues. Grossly we don't break any of these regulative principles. But subtle way, by being excessively on the internet and social media, we are gambling with time. The only thing which Chanakya says, that even after paying millions of gold coins, you cannot get back a single second, is what? Puts time. That belongs to us. The time and the free will is what belongs to the jiva. In that sense, only free will. So if that is the case, then how careful should we be with this time in order to ensure that Kali doesn't progress in our existence, in our life, in our community? The sooner we progress to a green and the red button phone, it is like the frog jumping at the first instance itself. The more and more we get indulged in the intoxication of the internet, it is very, very difficult for us to get over later. Because Kali is convincing us that we are doing it for preaching. He is convincing us. We are already convinced. We are already a sold lot. That no, this is very important. This is the next generation next. This is ISKCON preaching 2.0, a digital preaching. Right? So we are convinced. So the more we are convinced that this is important for us also, then we are falling in the slippery slope. But if we are convinced that I will do it for preaching for myself, it is something else. For myself, it's a different higher standard. Then we are on the path of being able to follow that Parikshit Maharaj's mood and Prabhupada's mood, that we cannot allow Kali to flourish in our existence. I think we can stop here and discuss a few questions, and if there are any. Yes. Do you have a mic?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Quote-owing Prabhu. Prabhu, I have two questions. The first question is, unless we surrender, we can't chant.
Yeah.
If you cannot chant, you cannot surrender. So what is the understanding in that? That's the first question. And second question, many number of rounds are important, or the perfection in the round is important?
Good question. So this is the proverbial, for ISKCON cycles we will say, the tree and the seed problem. Okay? But the tree came first or the seed came first. So the problem is that Prabhu is asking whether if we don't surrender, we can't chant. If we don't chant, we can't surrender. True. So we have to start chanting any which ways. Surrender is very tall ask. Many, many years later, there will be some semblance of surrender. Surrender is very, very high level. That is being Brahmanical. And that Acharyas call as Kanishtadhikari. That's very, very high level. But we should start endeavoring towards surrender. The stated goal should be surrender, and our process should be chanting. The stated goal is surrender. But one day we should know that we will completely want to surrender. Krishna will help us. He will send us inspirations through either Guru or scriptures or Acharyas or as Paramatma. He influences in three ways. One is inside as Paramatma, externally as a Guru, as one person or the set of Gurus, and also as scriptures. Three things. So he will send us inspiration to further strengthen our commitment and surrender if we continue to chant. Okay, I think I missed the second question. What was the second question? The same thing. See, Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana Nativi. Our Shad Goswamis say that we should do everything with a count. Means there should be a minimum count that we have to take care of. Commitment is there. But Prabhupada said minimum 16 rounds. He did not say maximum 16 rounds. And he also did not say minimum 16 quality rounds, he said many times. We very conveniently forget that quality part. Okay, quality rounds is also important, but quantity is also important. But if you do quality chanting, that itself will inspire you to do more quantity chanting. Chanting more and more rounds is the easiest way for progressing in Kali Yuga. We might say, I will read scriptures, I will do this, I will do sadhu sangha. Everything is important, but chanting is the easiest and the fastest way. But for us to come to that point where we are convinced that we have to chant more, we need all other aspects. We need all other aspects. So, quality is definitely important with the focus of quantity in the future. 192 rounds. If you focus at that, somewhere we'll fall at 64 somewhere. If we aim at 194 rounds, the arrow will go somewhere and fall at top of 64, which is a earlier Gaudiya Vaishnava standard. Prabhupada gave us a discount, you know that, no? 75% discount is given. Even that we are not able to afford. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu, for such an enlivening class. I think you have really put an eye-opener on how dangerous this internet, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, this, that, so on, how insidious and how attention-grabbing it is. So you are giving me a lot of food for thought and also warning all of us to be really careful of this agent of Kali. So I'm thanking you for pointing it out. Thank you so much.
Actually, one of the small boys who was teaching shlokas in Dubai, he asked an innocent question. He said, Prabhu, this finger which comes out of our chanting bag, is it for scrolling the phone while we are chanting? True story. I said, mostly Prabhupada did not design it for that, but we are using it for it. So this is the level. So we are many of our own ISKCON gurus have told about the 12th offense, which is chanting with the mobile phone around. We should actually keep it away. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I wanted to know the difference between Maya and Kali.
Kali is actually, if you technically see, Kali is a very low level demigod. And this is his time. His time is supposed to, after different yugas, he's a yuga. And Maya is a reflection, a perverted reflection of Krishna. Krishna is a sun, Maya is a reflection. Where there is Krishna, there is no Maya. But Kali and Maya are around with the same intention of keeping the jiva in this material world. Maya does it as a duty, a thankless duty, because Krishna doesn't want us to stay here. We don't want to stay here in our original nature. When we are contaminated, we want to stay here forever. But in our original nature, we don't want to stay here. And Krishna doesn't want us to stay here. But in order that unpurified souls don't go back home, back to Godhead, Maya keeps us here. That is her duty, a thankless job. Whereas Kali, it is his time and he is supposed to be flourishing. And Parikshit Maharaj gave him 5 places to stay. You will see it in the next instances where all he'll stay and where all you are supposed to guard yourself. So these are the two different entities. But they work around the same lines. For us it is different. We need not differentiate. Oh, are we getting defeated by Kali or are we getting defeated by Maya? Doesn't matter. We are getting defeated, that's the point. So who is punching us on our face very hard? Not necessary. We should run away from from this place. Does it answer? Thank you very much. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande.